Yes, in this year of 2025, at the time of this recording, we have experienced the resurgence of the sexual allure towards the Invisible Man thanks to Dark Universe at Epic Universe at Universal, and we were introduced to Vanessa Kirby's interpretation of the Invisible Woman in Marvel Studios' new Fantastic Four film. But they can just move aside because there's another Invisible Woman that we're gonna be talking about today. She's not played by Vanessa, she doesn't have a Pedro Pascal either, but she does have a John Howard, so balances out, right? In today's video, we'll be talking about a film often forgotten in the legacy of Universal monsters, in that of 1940's The Invisible Woman. And I'll tell you what, it's got everything. It's got a Barrymore, it's got the OG Wicked Witch, and it's got a stooge.
And if you've never been called a stooge before, I take pride in calling a stooge, you stooge, yeah!
Invisible Man buffs may recognize the film as the third release in the Invisible Man legacy, the first being The Invisible Man in 1933 starring Claude Rains, and The Invisible Man Returns also in 1940 and starring Vincent Price. The Invisible Man Returns was so successful for Universal that they wanted a follow-up as soon as possible. And what they got was a film that wasn't so much a horror, but instead a comedy.
Hey, here we go gathering nuts in May on a cold and frosty morning.
One in which multiple members of the cast have stated was so silly and fun to do that they never took it seriously. However, it did end up being nominated at the 14th Academy Awards for special effects. As I have already stated, it's not a horror. However, at the time, it was considered by many as risque. Before we get started, I'm Adriana Oyster, and if you're a fan of horror and anything queer as hell, then I suggest you check out my podcast, Horror Anthology Queer Goal, at queergoalpodcast.com and anywhere you get your podcasts. Link is down below in the description as well as my socials, so be sure to follow along so you never miss an update by me about my various projects. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and that little bell so you'll never miss a channel update from me. Also, just comment, something. Give me your thoughts down below in the comments section, even if you just want to write the word invisible or algorithm, or hell, just tell me your favorite Universal monster. Please also note that if you ever notice how my eyes are drifting towards a section here, it's because over here I have my notes and I have a chronic illness and I got the brain fog and all that, so I just use it to keep myself on track. Please note this video does include spoilers for The Invisible Woman, so if you don't want to be spoiled, just pause the video, go watch the film, and then come back and watch the rest. Now let's bring The Invisible Woman to light. The movie starts with a beautiful credit scene with theme music that I just find lovely. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I actually miss when movies had the credits at the beginning rather than at the end. The movie starts on Playboy, Richard Russell, as he learns that he is broke and he has to stop funding the whack job Professor Gibbs. This poor butler through this whole damn movie, oh my god. Richard is played by John Howard, who is best known from the films 1937's Lost Horizon and 1940's The Philadelphia Story. Professor Gibbs is played by the iconic John Barrymore, who is known for so many films including the 1920 silent film Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and one of my favorite films ever, 1932's Grand Hotel. We meet Professor Gibbs as he receives notice that Richard can no longer fund him. He puts an ad in the paper asking for someone who is willing to be a test subject to become invisible for no pay. People are out here struggling on these streets, man. What the fuck? Pay them what they deserve. Gibbs also has a sassy housekeeper named Mrs. Jackson that many will recognize as the wonderful Margaret Hamilton, who is best known as playing the Wicked Witch of the West in 1939's The Wizard of Oz. I wonder if she had to worry about blowing up in this movie too. If you know, you know. Horror fans will also remember her from 1960's 13 Ghosts.
Housekeeper! Housekeeper! Housekeeper!
Jackson is the name. I've been with you for 12 years, and the name's still Jackson.
Mrs. Jackson?
Well, what is this, Halloween? Into town? What'll I do with this?
Hold it carefully. It might explode.
Professor?
Go away! Don't interrupt, you bore me.
We're left wondering, Who in the hell would agree to this proposal? But we soon learn that one does agree to the experiment. A woman, in fact. Kitty Carroll, played by Virginia Bruce. The role was originally going to go to Margaret Sullivan, but she wanted to work on another movie and there was drama, and it just ended up not happening. Kitty agrees to the experiment because she longs for adventure, but she also works as a department store model to an asshat boss named Mr. Growley, so she'd love to get a little revenge in as well.
And you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Growley. I have a cold in my head.
If you sniffle in front of the customers, you're fired.
Oh, Mr. Growley.
Suppose you mind your own business, Mrs. Bates. With plenty of younger women for your job.
Yes, sir.
Now I know what I'd do. I'd kick him right in the pants.
One of these models is actually played by an actress named Maria Montez in her second ever film appearance. She's often considered the queen of Technicolor as she appeared in a lot of adventure films in the 1940s when films in color were becoming a thing. Kitty meets with Gibbs, who's hesitant at first because he wasn't expecting a woman to answer the ad, but he agrees to do it anyway. Beggars can't be choosers. The catch is that to do the experiment, Kitty is required to disrobe.
You tell her.
Tell her what?
About the disrobing. Tell her it's purely in the interest of science.
Yeah, you heard that right. For most of this movie, Kitty is naked. Of course, you don't see it because she's invisible. But the implication in 1940 caused people to get scared. The scandal was real, people. The scandal was real. But Dr. Griffin in The Invisible Man also had to get naked or else he'd be seen, so I want to know if there was an uproar in 1933 as well. I mean, I just keep thinking about how, like, in 1933, when audiences first went to the theater to see Invisible Man, and the sheer terror of the scene in the beginning when the woman walks in on him eating and he untied the wrapping on his neck and you see that the neck's not there. Like, that had to scare the hell out of people at the time, right? Anyway, back to the thing. Professor Gibbs uses a combination of the invisible machine he invented, as well as an injected chemical that doesn't have a name, but I'm assuming it's not monocaine. The experiment proves to be a success, and she's invisible. But while Gibbs needs her to stay put to show Richard that his machine works and they can make millions, she instead goes to get her revenge.
Kitty, 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 kitty. Not you, Miss Carroll. Avast, avaunt, out of my way.
And the revenge she instows is chef's kiss. Hey, FX error. I saw it. I'm telling. If I were given the power to become invisible, I know I would use it for good, but I also know a few people who could use a good epiphany moment, if you know what I mean. Also, they say women are emotional, but Dr. Griffin wanted to rule the world when he became invisible. All Kitty wanted was some fun and some no-harm revenge. Just saying. Meanwhile, some men are asking around to find out where Gibbs lives. One of these men happens to be Shemp Howard, famously known as one of the Three Stooges. When Curly isn't around, Shemp's in town. I love Shemp, but my favorite, my heart's always gonna be for Larry. The men pull up to the house in this. Okay. And they strategize with each other about how they're going to steal the invisible machine. Kitty overhears this and tries to warn Gibbs, but he's too peeved with her for having left. Still, she messes with the men, calls them out, and sends them away. She apologizes and materializes again. While she was getting her revenge, Richard came over, and with no proof of the invisible machine working, he decides to cut further ties with this man.
Ah, he's nuts.
Yeah, he says you're nuts.
The poor butler having to go between packing and unpacking the house.
Oh, there you are, sir. You'll be pleased to know that the silverware is back from the bank. The trunks are all unpacked, and the slip covers are off throughout the entire house.
Yeah, that's fine, George. We're closing up after all.
Very good, sir.
We're what?
Him and the butler end up leaving for a cabin to go fishing. I don't know why I quoted that. It seems like they actually are fishing, but who knows what the hell they're doing. They're just getting away, okay?
You leave right now for the lodge? You mean to say I have to cover up everything else again, sir?
Certainly have to cover it up.
Oh, don't say that, sir. Why don't you give the malls a holiday, sir? I've been in service for 25 years.
Kitty allows Gibbs to make her invisible again to impress Richard. She even calls Mr. Growley, who happily allows her to take as much time off as she needs. She becomes invisible again, and they head for the lodge. During this, we go back to the men and learn that their gangster boss, Blackie Cool, wants the invisible machine so he can go back home to the States as he's been extradited. They break into Gibbs's house, lock Margaret Hamilton in the closet, which is a felony in of itself, and they steal the machine and head to Mexico. Back at the lodge, Gibbs and Kitty make their presence known to the horror of the butler's heart. Kitty and Richard get in a little flirting, and we are introduced to an important part of the invisibling process. The treatment seems to make her want to continuously drink alcohol, and it doesn't stop her from getting drunk. In the morning, she is hungover as hell, and even though she should be visible again, she's not.
Professor! Professor! Oh, Professor! Oh, Professor! Professor! Oh, Professor! Professor!
Oh, darn it, I'm still invisible. Hey, Professor! Woo-hoo!
Oh, Professor!
Oh, Professor! Where are you? Where are you?
Professor! 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 Did someone say Professor? No.
That freaking scene, I swear to God, that's funny as hell. Gibbs figures a side effect of the chemical is that alcohol keeps her invisible. So, in The Invisible Man, a side effect of the monocaine is increasing madness and insanity. In The Invisible Woman, the side effect of this unnamed chemical used is that you crave alcohol and it keeps you invisible. Interesting. I hope they don't plan on releasing this to the public. They go back to Gibbs's house and let out Margaret Hamilton and discover the robbery.
Mrs. Jackson.
Really, Mrs. Jackson, what an odd place to spend the night.
Gibbs points out that while they stole the machine, they didn't take any of the chemical, and he's unsure of what the effects will be of using the machine without it. This ends up into a gag where the gangsters try the machine, and one of them ends up getting an incredibly high-pitched voice. But fuck all that, because this man's wearing a lampshade. Gibbs gives Kitty the chemical to make her come back and gives her some fancy clothes so she can make a big entrance for Richard when she becomes visible. They greet each other near the staircase, and as she reappears, love. And then heartbreak, because the gangsters come back and they knock out Richard and kidnap Kitty and Gibbs. Gibbs bores the men to death while Kitty drinks and becomes invisible again and takes down all the gangsters. Yay, they're saved! However, she sees Richard coming to rescue her and is like, I'm gonna make this man fight for me. So she begins attacking him back with machine guns. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, the butler is also in the car when this happens.
Those are the noisiest grasshoppers I ever heard. Christopher Columbus, we're being shot at!
But it's okay because Richard and Kitty fall for each other, and they seal their love with an invisible kiss. Fast forward to somewhere in the near future where Richard and Kitty are together, and they have a baby. But not just any baby. An invisible baby. Ooh, jealous. Not really, I don't want kids. They put rubbing alcohol on him and discover that invisibleness is hereditary. Yay! Another baby with powers, just like in Marvel Studios' new Fantastic Four film. The end. So, you may have noticed, but this movie is a completely separate entity from The Invisible Man. There's no mention of Dr. Griffin or any relatives, no mention of monocaine. The movie instead borrows on various principles of that original film and uses them in a comedic manner. It is its own separate entity created because of the successes of other Universal Monster sequels like The Invisible Man Returns and 1939's Son of Frankenstein. Universal Monsters is actually the first cinematic universe before Marvel even did it. Taking it for what it is, I viewed the film as an enjoyable 72 minutes. There are moments that I found funny, and I did LOL out loud. My sense of humor, it's very easy to entertain me sometimes, though, I'll admit. But I also love what others call bad movies, and I understand that those aren't everybody's thing. I get why this film isn't considered required viewing in the legacy of Universal Monsters, but regardless, it's still part of that legacy and deserves even just a sliver of recognition. Plus, Margaret Hamilton. Now that you've heard me going on a tangent about The Invisible Woman, I want to hear from you. I would love to hear from you, in fact. Please leave a comment down below on what you think about this often forgotten film, and are there any other movies, or books, or TV shows, anything at all, that you'd love for me to cover in the future? Even if you would just want to comment the word algorithm, or invisible, whatever, I would deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Adriana Oyster. All my social links are down below, and don't forget to like this video and click on that subscribe button so you'll never miss a channel update. And until next time.
Kitty, 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 kitty. Not you, Miss Carroll. Avast, avaunt, out of my way.
Now I know what I'd do. I'd kick him right in the pants.
What is this, Halloween?